notifications trigger is quite annoying and over notifying. It has two main problems. One, if it loads an event with a notification, in the past, it will trigger the modal. This should not happen. Only trigger the notification if the threshold is current. Two, once it displays a notification, it continues to display this notification. Perhaps this is the same issue as number one, but we need to make sure both of these items get fixed. Also, whenever making changes to reminder notifications, test that the upcoming reminders list is still accurate. Okay. So I think now that when I was typing it out, I think they're actually the same problem. So basically, if it loaded an event and it had a trigger in the past that passed the time threshold, it was notifying me like, hey, this event reminder was for a half hour ago, but you haven't seen it yet. So boom, there it goes. And then, maybe not even you haven't seen it yet. Then when it checked again, it was saying, oh, I already showed you this one, but it passed. So I think it might be the same thing. It passed the threshold, and then it notifies me again because it's just checking if that timer is in the past. But it shouldn't check if it's in the past. It should just check, well, it should check both. If it's in the past, hasn't seen it before. But I think it would be better, it has an upcoming reminders list, to just go against that list. If it's finally crossed it, do a notification and then remove it from the upcoming reminders. Found the issue. The reminder's working a 15-minute window. Okay. Yeah, so that's what it's doing. It's checking anything within the 15-minute window. So I think that's what we were seeing. It was like a half hour ago, but it was about 15 minutes in the timer. So it's kind of hard to test that now. I could do 1, 5, and 10 minutes maybe, and then I should only get one at a time. Yes, that's a critical. Preventing old reminders from triggering when the app first loads. That will be annoying. Right now I only have a couple in the past, but if I had years worth of calendar events, I don't need you to remind me of everything I needed to do in 2018. And it'd probably take all day to dismiss those. Okay. So that sounds promising. I think it was all the same root cause. So we shouldn't get any reminders. That looks great. Let's click here. What's upcoming? We have no upcoming reminders. Is that correct? I don't think that's correct. Let's see. This should sync to Google. Wait. I didn't tell it. Did I give it that information? No. All right. So it looks like it's syncing the event, but I believe there's reminders on these. Yeah. Okay. So now I think it's not even reflecting the reminder. So I have the 12:15 event should be notifying me at 12:10 and 12. And according to our calendar here, that is not happening. So this one should have 2 reminders. All right. So let's just add a local event here. Test 2 reminders. This is 11:30. So let's start this at 12 p.m. 12:30 p.m. Wait, let's do 3. I said 2. Let's do 3 reminders. Test 3 reminders. Okay. Boom. Test 3 reminders. Okay, 24 and 24. No, this is not correct. In 28 minutes and 24 minutes. What is this? That should be telling me when the reminder is about to happen. So this, in 5 minutes before 12, it should be happening in 24. That's correct. This one's wrong. In 15 minutes, this isn't 24 minutes. Today at 11:55, 11:59. Yeah, the 15-minute calculation is wrong. Okay. I noticed the threshold for the 15 minutes before reminder is not being calculated correctly. It has the same timer as 5 minutes before. Can you go through the reminder logic and make sure it is correctly calculating when the reminder trigger should occur for any time period? Alright, I actually don't know why that would be different. It should just be doing a straight calculation. It could be a UI bug. Well, I'm going to spend another 10 minutes with these reminders, and then I'm going to have to call it for today, and we will come back and dive into the code in the next stream, maybe tomorrow. So here we go. I can see the issue now. The reminder calculation looks corrected in the worker. Okay. The reminder calculation logic's duplicated, but not properly implemented. I don't know why. It should just be looking at the time and doing the calculation. Yeah, the calculation, I don't think it should even care what the available intervals are. It should just get an offset. So if you're saying, here's the event time, remind me at minus 15 minutes or minus 60 seconds, whatever it is, just do the calculation there. It's passing it as a label. It sounds like it's passing 2 minutes before. I don't like that. It should be an offset. Otherwise, anytime we make changes to this, it's going to have to match on that string being 2 minutes before. I don't even have a 2 minutes before. Alright, so let's see. At least we have all the same stuff. In 1 minute for 2 minutes before. Immediate test. Test 3 reminders in 11, in 21, and 25. Okay, so this is actually correct now. This is correct. But I'm not a fan of the worker calculation being so rigid. Can you refactor it so instead of relying on known intervals that it can accept a time, a numeric offset, and calculate the reminder from that? The caller should handle parsing any string pattern into a known time offset so that the worker code is more flexible and less error prone. Because this is working. This is fine. But we've run into 3 issues with this now. of it having the wrong offset. And I added, the problem that we ran into in the beginning of the stream was because 15 minutes was the smallest interval, and it made a number of assumptions based on it being 15 minutes exactly. And now it sounds like when we added 1 minute and 5 minutes that it was passing the string that said 1 minute before. So if we passed 2 minutes before, like it says here, it didn't know what to do with that. I don't want it. Just pass in minus 3,000 or something like that. Okay, so this sounds like it's a better improvement. In fact, I would never have known that. But this is something that if we were doing the code review process, if I saw a PR come in and they were converting the string 2 minutes before into a number, I would be like, hey, I'd tell them the same thing in the code review. Just accept an offset here. But again, I didn't see what this code is. I'll dive into that. We'll do a whole separate stream because it's probably take me another hour or so. We'll dive into these diffs because they're persisted back here in Git. So I'll do some diff reviews. So I'm getting in meta phrase now. We'll get PR reviews on these things, as if I was PRing them, just to see what it's doing. So this shouldn't have a noticeable, like it should all look the same. Whoops, it's broken. Add days is not defined. So the app crashes when I click the reminders button. Add days is not defined. Can you run through tests and make sure notifications and upcoming reminders is working with your recent changes? All right, so this will be the last thing that we do. I'm at 11:37. I got a notice. Yes, it is. I see the issue. When I refactor the reminders, I remove the add days import, but it's still being used elsewhere in the component. Okay. Okay. So overall, assuming this works, we had it fix our reminders logic. We actually had it refactor it so it's a little more flexible. There you go. 6 minutes, 11 minutes, 16 minutes, 20 minutes. It's in, wow, we got a lot of reminders here. 11:59, 11:55. So this looks all correct. Test 3 reminders. Let's make this 11:41 a.m. Boom. Let's make sure we're not getting duplicate reminders. So this should be coming up. Test 3 should be coming up in a minute. All right. I need to make that a little bit 41. Okay, 1 minute away. All right, because we kind of, I don't know, got confused there. So let's make sure we get this notification. The upcoming reminders looks perfect. Let's load this over here. See what we get. Yep, this is the display at the actual 1920 by 1080 that I will be just using. You can see it fits a lot better there. Our reminders are the same. It says now. All right, I'm gonna have to. I'll have to fix this later. It looks like we keep cycling back and forth between. Like the upcoming reminders looks fine. The upcoming reminders logic is great, but we are again not seeing real-time notifications. Carefully update that logic based on what we improved for the upcoming reminders and make sure it notifies properly and the code involved is as flexible as possible. Oh, there we go. Test 3 reminders 1 minute before. Okay, we don't have a bug. It was 11:42. It's 11:41. So now was just and that's gone. So I think we're good. I'll just sit here for another 30 seconds and we'll make sure we don't get that again. Otherwise, I think we're in a really good spot. Did that notification pop up over here? It did. Test 3 reminders. You can see our little progress bar. I'm going to ask it to make that animation a little smoother, but that's really low key. So test 3 reminders 1 minute before. Event starts at 11:42. I probably have it auto dismiss a lot faster too. You don't need to see it for a full minute. Just have it take like 15 seconds. That's probably fine. But all right, so we added database to this. It was pretty easy. You could see it working through refreshes. It's now, let's try our search here. Test. There you go. We got test 2, test 3, next month events. June, July. So I think what I'm going to ask it to do in the future is this search should be sorted by, how would you sort this? Probably events closest to today. Would you want to sort? Here's what I'll do. I'll ask it to add a feature. By default, it should sort anything in the future, or it should only find items in the future sorted chronologically, but we can have another one to be like include past events, and then we can just sort it by relevance at that point. Yeah, I think that's what I'll have it do. So default to sort chronologically, have an include past events, and then that's just sorted relatively by ranking, by basically how close the string matches. But I think we're in a good spot. The vibe coding, as you can see, I didn't have to write any code. I did have to write a lot of characters. I probably typed as much as I would have if I coded some of these features. But the fact that it can figure out all this context and we were able to get it where we wanted, don't know how much time it saved me. It probably saves a good amount of time. But I think there's a lot of promising potential in this. If you can, like I can't prompt multiple agents. I'm kind of the bottleneck still. But if I had a system similar to what I was mentioning where I could just open bugs and the agents could grab those bugs and fix them, I think that would end up working a lot faster because then you can distribute. I can test through this. I could type a bug just about that. An agent can grab it. I could type more bugs up. And then that way I'm not the bottleneck waiting for this one thing to work, and I can bring up these chats in different threads. So, but for doing what we did right now, I still think this is faster than me coding it. It's definitely a lot less frustrating to have it coding this. One thing I'm also noticing is these are growing in height, which I guess is not a huge problem because I don't have any other events. So I think this would eventually even out if we had kind of a similar, I'd have to make sure this scrolls. But I think that it does. So anyway, I think this was a good use of time. It's actually a lot of fun to do. As a programmer, I know I can do a lot of this, but the fact that I don't have to write the code, I don't have to test the code, I'm waiting for this to do its thing. And if I get better at it, I can probably even open 2 different threads and have it doing multiple things. I'm not sure, but I'm kind of waiting here. But it's fun to learn what it's doing. I like how it explained to me, like it pointed out how it was doing this interval logic that I was able to ask it to fix. Whether it fixed it or not, we'll look into the diffs, the PRs tomorrow, and we'll see if it fixed these and how it wrote the code. But overall, I'm having a lot of fun vibe coding. I don't know if anyone out there has been vibe coding. My thoughts on it right now is it's a very useful tool for someone like myself who knows how to do this themselves. I know what I'm looking at. I know what to ask it for. I know what's possible. I know it's not a great approach. I have ideas of what would make more sense. I'm also a little more keenly paying attention to what it's telling me, just like I showed with the way of doing interval. I think if you were getting started coding, you'd probably have to approach this from a different standpoint. Ask it to do more basic things and spend more time. Like every time it builds something, you should probably. The problem also as a newer developer is if you were to look at what it did here. You can see what it's writing, which is cool. It gives you an idea of how you can do this and what your files can look like. The thing I would be mindful of is I'm not sure how good of an example any of these things are. So if we look at some of these changes here, like if you see this is actually, I would have noticed this really early on in a PR. If reminder in text includes 15 minutes, like this is even, it's not even matching it directly. It's doing an includes, and then it's adding this time. So I'm going to have to find out where it did this instead. This is not great. You should really be mapping this label, maybe have an enum of labels to time offsets. So you're not matching this as an includes, and you can just look up the string 15 minutes should be a key, and then that key should have minus 15, or I would actually go down to the seconds. You're not going to have people changing milliseconds, but you might be having it in 30 seconds. And then what are you going to do? You can't do minus 15, you do minus 0.5 maybe, I don't know. So basically you would want to have an enum, or at least an object of key to time offsets, and then all you have to do is pass in, where are we, reminders panel, for each reminder, calculate reminder time offset minutes. So there you go. You just pass in the offset minutes. That's what you would do. And that way it's flexible. Like this can be any interval that you want, especially if you're programmatically being able to add this for advanced users. They could just type in, minus 300 or something. So this is actually a really bad pattern. So if you were a newer developer and you saw this, you might be like, oh, I can just do if else, if else, if else. That's not good. This is a very bad, if you see yourself doing this, this is a bad pattern, and you probably want a switch statement or an enum or a utility function rather than doing this. So this is something like, as a newer developer, you got to be mindful of. But again, if you didn't know that even how to write this code, and you saw this and you wrote it, you're learning just like we're all learning. Like I've learned not to do this many, many years ago, but there's plenty of other things I'm learning that someone who's better at it would look at it and go, you shouldn't really do that. You should do this instead. So the fact that AI can't really do that for you as a junior or entry-level developer, be careful. Use this to learn basics, but try to find a human, especially if you have it in your job, you should be getting this. If you don't have a job doing this yet, then it's fine to learn, but also read some blogs, look at other people's code, try to work with other more senior developers who can let you know if what you've started to learn is a bad pattern. Because this is part of what you'll get from working at an actual development environment with real human developers, is someone's going to review a diff like this, a PR, if you put a push-up code like this, and I would come back and say, hey, this doesn't look good. Why don't you move this into an enum? And then you might be like, I don't know what an enum is, or how would I do that? And then you can work with someone who can teach you how to do this. Or you can ask AI, hey, turn this into an enum, and they probably can do that for you too. So this is, I think, the difference between using AI as a senior developer, where I can go in and ask it. I did ask it to refactor it. It looks like it did a good job doing it. I'm not going to dive into it right now, but it looks like it actually did refactor and try to make it more flexible. But as a junior developer, use this tool, pay attention to what it's doing. If something doesn't look right to you, ask it. You can even ask it like, hey, is this the best way to do this? Or what do you think about this? And just try to dive into, before you commit a pattern to memory or you make it a habit, double check that it seems right to you. If you're typing a lot, if you're repeating yourself a lot, if you see it using the same logic in multiple places, you probably want to refactor that out. So that's just things you'll get better at as you develop more. And as a senior, this is actually kind of fun to ask an agent to do things and give it feedback and check into it. So I will definitely be revisiting this app. I'd like to see what it did, and then the next stage I'm going to see how easy it will be for me to convert this into my local development environment. If I can just take the code out of GitHub, run it in my node process, and maybe point it at a local Postgres instance instead. If I can do that, then this is a big win, and I can deploy this next time we go through this, unless there's some major changes. But so far, this is looking really good. It's doing exactly what I had in mind, and we will dive into the code in next session and see what it wrote. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be doing some more of these vibe coding sessions. We'll be doing other apps. This is just my family calendar app. This is a project I've been wanting to do for probably a year now. But I have some other apps in mind, and if people start watching this and enjoying this type of content, I would love to take suggestions of what apps we should dive into and try to build. So thanks for watching. I'll break this up into some shorts, so keep an eye on the channel. Give me some comments, give me some suggestions of what you'd like to see or what I can explain differently or what maybe I didn't get into that you'd like to know about. So